So, am I thugging it up, or is it just my ability to be neurodivergent? So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Am I just good at dealing with stuff, or is my brain just rewiring itself in a way that like best deals with it? So basically, I've worked towards making my life better, right? I've tried to do certain things, employ certain habits, try to put myself out there more, take more risks. Uh, and I just basically did a series of things that basically compound a little bit of personal growth over time. And I'm at that point now where I'm actually starting to see like signs of the progress. I can actually look back on the last 6 months and I can go, wow, like this was all for something, right? I'm more aware, I'm more focused. I slowly becoming the person I want to be. But anyways, when it comes to like my ability to deal with things, I definitely think it's definitely different, right? To get the main point out of the way, this kind of ties with my values of my three main values, which is support myself, support others, and learn new things. And I definitely have done like supporting myself and learning like a lot of new things this year. I'm definitely trying to find my way to support others and try to be there. But basically, when it comes to supporting myself, all that really is at my core is just trying to stay healthy and just push myself, stay healthy and push myself. And I think I do both those things really well. But one thing I've noticed is that the way that I don't care about superficial things is a little bit different. So what I mean by like superficial things is that, young people like we're kind of just we see what the world is like around us. We learn from the adults, we learn from social media that there's this idea that you kind of got to just be conformative. You have to fit in with everybody else and every conversation has to be like 60% authentic. And you basically just get this whole generation of people that don't really know what's missing in life. So everyone just kind of sort of blends in without forgetting what individuality is. But anyways, what I find interesting is that when I actually go and hang out with people, once the anxiety is gone, there is no need to, I guess, try to prove myself the most. There is no need to like want to get the most of a result. There is no like high expectation that every night has to be a lit night or a perfect night. And well, I think these are all just good things that any person can have. I think again, the way I think about it's a little bit different because the things that I actually genuinely care about, like at my core, override like the need for the validation or for whatever you get. And stuff like knowing I can record cool YouTube videos and play Minecraft and do music and just do all the fun like 10 hobbies that I have is like it just, if I'm ever feeling like the night's not going that well, I'm like, at least I got those to look forward to. And it helps a lot actually because it actually makes my mood better. And then I look back on like who I'm talking to and I'm like, this isn't that bad, right? So it's nice because it actually comes in handy a lot to know that I just care about what I care about. And again, it affects my mood, but also I think like it just I always kind of tell myself like, you know, in life as well, I can just be happy with my current situation. And I should always strive for more, but I'm happy with what I got. And as I've said a few times on this channel, just being happy with what you have is like it's kind of one of the best things you can have in life at a young age. I mean, I don't want to say it's a superpower or anything, but knowing that you can be happy with what you got, regardless of where you are and what you're doing, I think it can put you ahead of a few people. And I think obviously the crutch to this is, well, aren't you making this kind of like a support system if you have to constantly rely on a certain amount of things that you do to basically justify how you feel in the moment? Then like it's not like a little weird, a little stupid. And I do understand where you're coming from, and I do understand like why that is. I just think it's for me. There's always going to be something else. I think there's this truth that there is like the specific things that I'm into help me because like the specific things that I do like as I'm recording this video, but they could be anything. If those things are taken away from me, I'll find something else to hyper focus and be interested in, right? Um, there's always going to be something that I just care about indefinitely. And I think that's like what's important. And is that doesn't and like at the end of the day, as long as I have something that I genuinely care about, that's fun and stimulating, I'm not gonna be out here thinking about like social hierarchies. So yeah, that's kind of what it is. And I kind of just really want to like highlight the fact that I say neurodivergence. I'm not gonna say it's correlated to necessarily autism or anything. I am like diagnosed ADHD, but I do think there's some potential and some prospect that maybe the way I think internally could be related to autism. And if not, at the very least, could definitely just be a trait. You can necessarily have, some sort of trait that exhibits behavior in some sort of like neurotypical thing or neurodivergent thing without actually having it. But what I basically just want to highlight is that I definitely think that my thinking is different. There's no doubt in my mind that when I think about how I think and compared to just regular people, it's different. And and there's a few reasons. Obviously, it's just not traditional. I think the way I think. I think the way I think is just kind of a little bit more creative and unique. And I like to visualize things and make patterns and map things out. And it's like, well, okay, well, a lot of people can do that. They make patterns. It's just I kind of make things kind of linear in a way. I'll make like a timeline of how I've learned a skill in my head, and then you guys can kind of map out like what hasn't been mapped out yet and get a rough estimate of like what I could do to get there. So like trying to not like map out a non tangible skill. A good example would just be having a conversation with someone. I've been trying to get out more socially, just in the past couple months with whoever, and what I've noticed is that like when I talk to people, obviously I know what I'm saying and why I'm saying things, but when they're talking, I can listen to what they're saying, but I can also kind of like map out in my head like where this direction will go of the conversation. I try to pay attention to their body language so I can kind of gauge the ability to understand the actual vibe because what they're saying is not exactly how they're expressing themselves sometimes. And I do that, and I just do that over and over where I can just like listen, but also pay attention at the same time. And the point is with that is that every single time I get out with people and every single time I get out and socialize, like on a consistent basis, I only seem to be able to get better at that skill. I only seem to get better at listening. I only seem to get better at paying attention to body language. I only seem to get better at, you know, I guess also social cues, which again, maybe that's neurodivergence, right? Maybe these were things I struggle with. I think I only really struggle with social cues because I didn't pay attention to them, not because I don't understand them. Um, but yeah, like seriously, I look at that and I go, well, shit. Well, if I'm like this smart now because of this many conversations I've had, I'll probably be this smart if I have this conversation like 10 times over. And I think to myself, like, how can I make 10 more opportunities for a conversation happen? And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh man, like I'll just be more and more skilled because I'm gonna keep having more conversations and I'm gonna be able to harness this skill at this point when it's my turn to talk and be able to get better at listening when it's my turn to listen. And I don't know, I do that thing where I just map it out indefinitely and I map it out in my head because I think it's fun to. I think it's fun. I don't think it's just pragmatic. I think it's just a fun way to think. And that good time, my whole brain's like, ability to instantly stimulate itself is that it even tries to stimulate itself in the way it thinks. Which again, is it a super ability? Is it a disability? I don't know. But it's different. It's definitely different. Um, and yeah, like just being able to do that, not like map out non-tangible skills, even just life skills, even having a bad day. Like I can learn a lot in a bad day. So I'm telling myself, damn, I'll definitely learn a lot after a bad week. I'm like, all right, just give me like 7 crap days. I'm gonna come out the ringer a different man. But obviously, the problem with the linear based thinking is that you forget to mention life just has factors. Like things happen, like things pop up. You can learn a skill like linearly and progressively, but something might put a fork in the road for progress, right? Like just another opportunity might arise, something else might catch my attention. Anyways, I do think, as I said, the linear based thinking, it's fun. It actually helps me a lot, I think, because I'm used to it, as well as the fact that I just retain the information that way. I don't know. Like when I map out information, that's just how I do it. And I guess it's also like another way to stimulate my brain and bring it back again to ADHD is like just it's a kind of like a point system. Again, and again, it makes me look forward to learning new skills. Like I said, like life skills, tangible skills, just anything really. But again, even with making these YouTube videos, I kind of sort of made that point system in my head where like I don't even care how many viewers each video gets. I kind of just want to point out this many videos as I can and make this many videos in this amount of time and be able to pat myself in the back for it. And I felt like every time I made a video, I get like a little point or like a little hit of stimulation. And in a way, I was kind of chasing the hit by sitting down and focusing on just making a massive amounts of content. So yeah, I do that. I do make this linear based point system to just motivate me to learn things I otherwise wouldn't do. I like the YouTube channels. It is like a fun thing I can really focus on and do. But I also think there's other things in my life that I can apply this on, which is really anything. If I had to learn a new skill tomorrow, I would figure out a way to make it fun. And that right there is another way of neurodivergence, I think, is like I can just make something fun. It's like a superpower. Again, I don't think everyone can just do that. So yeah, like that's really where it is. I guess to say I'm thugging it out because I just I deal with problems in such a unique way that like things just don't get to me. Like I just make things as a point system so I can learn virtually anything I want. It makes my focus better, and I just don't care about the superficial things because at my core, I know I can have my silly little block game that I can go back to and just give me like 20 dopamine hits. So yeah, so like I don't even care if like someone said the fit was ass. Like I can just do what I want, right? I can just do what I want. Like it's fun. So yeah, that's really where it is. That's kind of the point I was trying to make is just like I think I'm just really good at dealing with things because of my ability to have neurodivergent, as well as just being mature. And yeah, I think I want to explore this topic a little bit further. But that's just kind of where I'm at. I'm really proud of like how I can use these abilities in my head. And honestly, I wouldn't change my neurodivergence for the world. You know, people hate what they could have. People don't like the idea that ADHD is technically, I guess, a disability. But you know, like as Darman would say, like it's not a disability, bro. It's a different ability. So yeah, shout out Darman. Shout out this video. That's all I got for today. I hope you guys like and subscribe. If not, totally cool. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.